that is true. Yeah. And why we need one more file sharing option when we have S3, when we have EFS. So why we need to have FSX? See, we already have a file sharing option through EFS, right? So what exact?
But
Hmm,
the performance wise, the FSX, it's a dedicated thing. Strong.
very good. Okay. That's a good answer. Okay. See, customers want to have some purpose-built file system technology for managing the file share or managing their access to the files or access to the file system. See, this particular what do you call the EFX, it can help to achieve file shares for your normal workload or your traditional workload, I would say. See, for example, if you want to create a shared folder and access it from multiple systems, then I feel yeah, EFS can be okay, or even S3 can be used for that particular matter. But FSX is extended file system, or I would say file system extended. We have a lot of different options here, and as Valli highlighted, it's actually purpose-built file system. And I could see even Pandian has joined, right? So. Like this is like if in case I mean maybe like I will say like there are a lot of options that are available. I would say there are at least 4 different file system that are available as part of your FSX option. So when I say 4 different file system, different customers or different client has been using different file system in the past. Some people have been using some HP native storage or EMC or NetApp or different concepts. Okay, if some customers, if they have been using Windows file shares for a long time, or if they are using Windows file servers and creating shares in that, and if they have been using the Windows traditional system, okay, then they might feel like they want to continue that. And some use case might be, for example, they might be currently using a lot of file share in their remote locations, and even on their primary data center they might be using Windows based file servers, and they want to continue using that in the AWS cloud also. And for that, Amazon is giving you an option called FSX for Windows file server. So you can have a file system created, and many of you know that the FSX file system based on Windows is based on SMB file blocks, right? Or SMB file system. Server message block file system is what is used on the backend in order to provide that. And similarly, if some people might have been using NetApp, I mean, or I would say, yeah, NetApp ONTAP file system. ONTAP is the native file system for your NetApp, right? So they might have been using that for a longer time, and they have been using that traditional storage for I mean, it's not traditional storage. Even on date, like there are a lot of technologies coming out from NetApp. So if they are using that ONTAP file system, they can continue to use that in cloud also. So we have an option called FSX for um, the NetApp or the ONTAP file system. Okay, so that is also available. And if some customers are currently using some Linux file system or some Linux clusters, okay, they might have been using this HPFS, high performance file system, or they call it as HPC clusters, high performance clusters, and so on. So the name Linux plus cluster, it is called as Luster here in the cloud. Okay, so Amazon also provides you a solution called FSX for Lustre or Luster. Okay, so whatever you call it. Okay, so however you spell it. So some people call it as Lustre file system or Luster file system because it is combination of Linux plus clustering technology. If you have been using Unix or Linux file systems in the past, they might prefer to use the Lustre file system for your high performance workload. And there is a new option that Amazon has produced called FSX for Open ZFS. This is a open file system which is actually purpose built by Amazon themselves to take over this market. See, if they are giving a Windows file server, then again it is Microsoft technology. If it is NetApp, it's again NetApp file system. And again, this is built on some specific Linux operating systems and so on. So Amazon want to give their own flavor with Amazon Graviton processors. Okay, they use AWS native Graviton processors to provide you the performance, and use this open ZFS file system to provide an option with FSX. Okay, so as I told at the beginning, so this is mainly purpose built file system for the customers who have been already experiencing it. See, I would say like if there are these many options, customer have to choose between them, right? So it's not that they will be coming and looking at it and choosing it. So generally, it is based on the familiarity. Okay, if they have been supporting a particular file system for a very long time, if I ask Pandian on this list, he will say I will go for NetApp ONTAP file system because he has been working for 10-12 years on NetApp file system. Similarly, if I ask Valigani, he will say Windows file server because he has been used to work with Windows file shares and Windows file server for a long time. So it depends on people's expertise and company's expertise. Client is client profile. So if the customer is already familiar with the particular technology and they have been using it for a long time, they would continue to use that given file system as a kind of future file set also, or they will continue to use that. And it's not just about based on familiarity, right? Familiarity plays an important role, but again, customer has to like the feature sets provided by that particular technology. So they should be happy with managing Windows easily, like you can create an active directory domain, and you can join that particular server to the domain, and you can access it from anywhere, right? You can use it from the client system, you can use it for the virtual desktop concept, you can use it for Hyper-V, you can use it for many different use cases, right? Even for your normal file share. You can also leverage Microsoft's technology like branch catch and DFS file system and so on. So this provides you a lot of hidden benefits. See, it's not just about the file system, right? The file system is one thing, but on the back end, the feature set that comes along with the technology is also playing a very, very important role. So it provides you a lot of native Microsoft technologies like branch catching, distributed file system. It also leverages Active Directory. So all those things makes a big thing to make a decision. So the feature set also makes a decision, and then comes the performance concept, like the performance profile. What kind of speed it is going to provide you, how much benefits it is going to provide you. See, for example, some people will think about NetApp ONTAP file system because of the deduplication, compression, and the encryption technologies. They might also look about it, and how we manage the system. So that is again an important thing, right? The data management capabilities or the functionalities or features, that all makes like these five things makes up the decision on why to choose these things. Okay, it's not like one day fine morning we come and look at this and choose something. It's not like that. So customers might have been using this for a while, and they might have been very familiar with the technology, and they have been very happy with the file system's features and the performance of the system, the cost, and the data management. So that is how they come and choose this. Otherwise, see, if you are a new customer, if you are a startup customer, generally like they will go with S3 or EFS. That will help their purpose. But if you are a customer who has been running the data center for 20 years, 30 years, you might have been used to a particular thing, and you don't want to suddenly change to a Amazon native storage technology, right? You want to continue using that, and you want to have a customer relationship with NetApp or Microsoft, or for that any matter, right? So it's like it's a fully managed third-party file system. So the word fully managed might distract you, or it might take you off from here. But again, it's fully managed third-party file system. So when I call it as fully managed third-party file system, so here when I say fully managed, in the on-premises, what you do, you go and provision the server hardware, or you go and provision the storage hardware for NetApp, or to manage that storage hardware, you create a server hardware called storage VM, or it can be a VM, or it can be a physical server. It depends on company to company how they are managing the storage hardware. But we need to go and provision the hardware here, and we need to go and configure the software, the ONTAP file system or the NTFS file system or whatever. We have to go and configure it, and then we have to continuously patch it. We have to continuously look at the firmware. We have to take the backup of this. So these are all the complex thing that we have been doing in the past. But in the cloud, when we call fully managed, so we are skipping these things. That is the important thing. We don't have to worry about the server provisioning, storage provisioning, the management of the configuration, or the patching activity. So these are all completely managed by Amazon. So that's what they manage. They are not managing the file system. They are managing the backend server hardware and the configuration. So that's what we call it as fully managed. And the important thing is, see, when you want to run or when you want to create a file system in NetApp or Windows, you have to wait at least for a particular time, because we have to purchase it, we have to apply the licenses, we have to create the system to manage it, and then only you will be able to create the file system for usage. But here it's like readily available. It's like you go and select it, you go and launch it, and then you'll be able to use it. You don't have to wait for the procurement time or the deployment time, or there is nothing like that, right? So see, that's what it makes a big difference of using Amazon FSx. So you come and simply launch it, and it's simple and fully managed. So whenever like you see a term in any cloud fully managed, they are talking about these activities on the back end. If there is a disk failure, or if there is a kind of storage failure, so you don't have to worry about it. They are taking care of that high availability, they are taking care of the performance related stuff. Okay, so, and again on the back end, the availability and durability is a responsibility of providers thing. So here Amazon is taking care of the SLA attached to the FSx file system or whatever. They are giving you the availability. They are saying you like it is 99.99% available, or it is 99.99 of durability. So all those things. So here you are getting a feature rich high performant file system with just a single click. You just go and create a file system and start consuming it. But in the on-premises, we have to do a lot of back-end work in order to get the file system readily available, or in order to get the file system available. Okay, so that's the big difference. So here, when it comes to FSx file system on the cloud, I told like there are 4 different options, right? So let's at least touch some of them. Okay, at least like let's go through one by one at a high level, and how exactly these things make up a difference is what we can quickly discuss. See, when it comes to the first one, see, if customer has been using Windows file server for a long time, then they will go for FSx for Windows file server. Okay, let's at least capture 4 or 5 points so that we can quickly compare and get into the technology. See, these are all mostly needed for your professional exam, but for your associate exam, you can at least understand uh, how exactly customer choose it. So what exactly is their preference method, like how they go and consume that, whether so how they make the choice. So if someone asks like how they make the choice, this is how they make the choice of choosing the file system. It's not like the system admin or storage admin making the choice. It's the customer, it's the client who will make the choice based on the cost benefit. Not just these things, right? Even as a customer, they will also look at the cost, they will also look at the security and the availability aspects also. Okay, it's not maybe like these are the historical things that makes up the difference, but they will also try to understand the cost. They will also try to understand how secure it is, how available it is, how durable it is. So those things also will come into play. But yeah, so these are the things that will be considered when you go and choose this, right? So let's talk about the Windows file server. And as I told you, like this is purely a Windows file server based concept, and here it's accessed over SMB protocol. So you know about Windows network protocol, right? Or how we access the file shares in the Windows world. We use the industry standard server message block SMB for accessing anything on the network using the Windows file share concept. And here, this Windows file share, it can be broadly accessed. You can access it from Windows Server. You can access it from, okay, I don't want to mention server. You can also use it, access it from Windows 10 also. You can also access it from a MacBook, or you can access it from Linux and so on. Okay, so you can access it either from cloud, or you can access it from on-premises also. So that's the biggest thing. And on the back end, if you ask me like the FSx of for Windows, I mean Windows file server, it uses the Windows OS on the back end, right? So that is for the first point. That should be the first point. So on the back end, it uses Windows file server. Okay, it uses the Windows Server technology or Windows Server operating system to run this. And again, it provides the support for your SMB protocol. And if you ask me like what are the other options that you get as a benefit, you can go and use the what you call the Windows FSRM technology, right? File system resource manager concept. So what are the things it will provide? It will provide option to configure quota. It will give you option to go and configure deduplication. It also helps you to easily backup and restore the file system using the FSRM concept. Even you can also leverage the branch catch, the DFS file system, so Active Directory integration. So these are all something which will make a big difference. Okay, so you can use DFS, you can use Active Directory, you can use branch catching. So all these concepts can be combined together with your existing environment. So the integration with the AD, I think I should mention that as a separate item, because that is the biggest selling point. Integration with your Microsoft Active Directory, and it can connect with your on-premises and the enterprise requirement, right? And the DFS, branch catching, these are all like Windows native technology, right? And those technologies can also be used. And if you ask me like whether the performance level is very good, definitely it is very good. It gives you up to three gigabytes per second throughput, and also it provides you very good millisecond latency. So IOPS is also good, throughput also good, right? So whenever people think about storage, they will ask about how much throughput it can provide, how much IOPS it can provide. It can provide up to 3 Gbps, which is very good speed, and also it gives you very low latency IOPS. It is much faster. Okay, so it can provide sub millisecond latency, and it can provide thousands of IOPS, I would say. Okay, and next thing is on the, okay, I thought of giving only 5 points, but it is going on, but that's fine. Okay, the next point I would say is like on the options, high availability. See, I'm trying to relate it to the choice that I was mentioning it here, right? So here, if I think about availability, it can gives you option to go and create it in a single availability zone, or you can also put it into multi-availability zone also. So backend systems can reside on more than one data center. You can either choose one data center for your Windows file server, or you can also have two different systems to make it highly available and to make it highly durable. So high availability is different, high durability is different. And also it gives you option to go and choose SSD or HDD option. So based on your requirement, you can go and choose the solid state drive or the hard disk drive to get the relative performance benefit. And again, it is a fully managed backup is actually there. If you go and create a file system, it will automatically start getting backed up. You don't have to worry about it, but you can configure throttling and all those things. So if you want to enjoy these benefits, you can go and choose the Windows file server. Similarly, if you ask me like, how about the other one, the Lustre one, right? Lustre one is the Linux plus cluster, right? If you have been using Linux, if you have been using the word Lustre comes from Linux plus cluster, right? The combination of, if you have been using Linux plus cluster technology for your on-premises, then people come and use this Lustre technology or Linux high performance technology, and it is mainly accessed from Linux compute instances. Primarily, you can use the Linux VMs or Linux containers, either if it is running on your cloud or if it is on-premises, you can use it. I can just try to compare it like this. Okay, it is pretty much the NFS file system. Okay, and also you can use your FSX file system here, and you can also have a integration with S3 also. Okay, S3 integration, there is an option called Amazon S3 Connect, which you can integrate with this thing. And see, they call it as POSIX file system. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the POSIX file system. It is a POSIX compliant protocol. So there are some industries which will look for whether your file system is POSIX compliant. Definitely this is like backward compatible, as well as it is POSIX compliant, meaning you can use your Unix file system, or you can use some third-party Linux cluster to access this file system. And mostly the organizations for Windows file server, I have seen the use cases like they will be using it for departmental shares, or they might be using it for what do you call the end user shares, or some virtual desktops. So they might be using it for very regular use case. But these ones, the Lustre is purpose built for very high performance. Okay, it is for machine learning, it is for the data warehousing, it is for the high performance computing. for very high video processing or financial modeling or seismic modeling. So it is like very, very powerful systems. Okay, if you want to find out the weather modeling, seismic modeling, or if you want to do some chemical labs. So for all these things, the Lustre file system can help you. So in short, if there is a very high performance requirement or very high performance computing requirement, you can go and choose the Lustre. And here it can give you hundreds of gigabits per second throughput. That is the biggest thing. Okay, here I would say it gives you hundreds of. Okay, I'm talking about the throughput here, right? Sorry, I'm just hundreds of gigabytes. Second, guys, hundreds of gigabytes of throughput per second. Okay, and again, IOPS will be very, very high, and it's I would say up to millions of IOPS. Okay, and again, the same thing is applicable. You can have single data center, multi deployment option. So these things are definitely available: single AZ, multi AZ, fully managed backups, and what else? And they give you two options. Okay, they give you short-term option and long-term option. I'll explain that in detail. Okay, they give you short-term, long-term option. If you have some short processing requirement, you can go and use the short-term deployment option. If you have a long-term data processing thing, based on your data processing requirement, how long you are going to use it, how long you are going to process it, how long you are going to use this data warehousing technology. Based on that, you can choose two options, and it will help you to reduce the cost and storage consumption. And the biggest thing is it also supports data compression. It also supports deduplication. Okay, and also it supports some consumption based thing. Okay, so deduplication and so on. Okay, any question from anyone so far? These are Windows 1, right? You cannot integrate with the AD. This is not going to support it. 1 minute, guys. I'll just open up this. There is a lot of heat. Okay, sorry. Okay, shall we move on to the next one? I think the next one is Pandian's favorite one, right? So maybe I'll try to listen from you, Pandian, one or two words. Like you have been using this NetApp ONTAP technology for a very long time, right? So why you have been, I mean, what you will say that as a selling point. So why customers are liking NetApp? Like on a very high level, you don't have to get too much detail, like whatever comes to your mind, like just give free flow answer.
I feel I'm sitting in front of an interviewer now.
No, no, no. Not like that. Okay, so I know like you have been with NetApp technology for a very long time. Okay, and I know you can
Yes,
answer this very well. Yeah,
this is based mainly based on the unified storage,
yeah. Okay,
so it will support for NFS and Unix.
okay,
And,
okay. So unified storage in the sense, are you referring that it can be used for block storage, file storage, and different
yes,
concept? Or okay, got it. Okay,
yes,
perfect. Yeah.
that is
Okay.
the basic
Mm.
one.
Okay.
Then other than one is the snapshot technology is very good in NetApp, right?
Okay, very
Very
good.
good
That is true. Yeah, the snapshot
snapshot
technology. When you
technology.
say snapshot, are you referring to the snapshot or snap mirror?
Yeah, the snap mirror is the second one actually. That is for the
Okay,
backup purpose, right?
that is
So
for data
snapshot.
replication and backup. Okay, very good.
Uh,
Correct. Mm. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I think yeah, you can
yeah.
add more. Yeah, go ahead.
Then the storage efficiency is like we call it as volume efficiency, like compression due to
Very
and
good. Yeah. Okay. You might have answered this many times, right? So the interesting thing is you are saying like different systems can access, right? So many people doesn't understand that. Okay, let me uh, maybe like do you want to add any other point? I think I can also talk on NetApp for some time, but I have not closely worked on NetApp, but I have worked on HP and EMC technologies for some time in the past. I have deployed HP EVA, HP MSA, and all those physical storages, but I have not got an opportunity to set up NetApp storage. But I know like some, I mean, I've managed it for a customer for a while. Okay, so but you have been day in day out, you have been handling it. So what is the other point you are trying to say?
Yeah, the thing, I'm not sure that.
Mm.
What could be the very important for this one actually?
Mhm. See, the file system itself, it speaks a lot of stability. Okay, I would start from there. Okay, so if it is like NetApp's popular, it is very very popular, right? And I'm not sure how many of you know that it is a very very highly reliable file system. Like downtime and all, it is very rare, and ONTAP has been developed very very carefully. Like even EMC has got a very good file system and technology, but still NetApp is very very popular for its file system itself. Okay, it's a very highly reliable storage, I would say. It's a very highly reliable file system, and it is not just based on overnight measurement, right? Customers have been using ONTAP file system for at least 20 years now, so they know that it is providing you a lot of features, a lot of high performance computing on the storage level, and it is again here in the cloud, it is fully managed. Okay, that's where it makes a big difference on how you do it on the on premises and then the cloud. And as highlighted by Pandian, it can be accessed, the different systems can access it. So you can access it from your Linux, you can access it from your Windows, you can access it from your Mac, you can use any protocol. Like when I say industry standard protocol, this is where it is going to make a difference between Windows file server, Lustre, and NetApp. So you can use either your SMB, you can use NFS, even you can use iSCSI also. See, that's where he was talking about, right? It provides you unified storage. That is the important point. That is the main selling point. You can provide SMB endpoint, you can provide NFS endpoint, you can provide iSCSI endpoint, so that whatever customer wants, they can connect there, they can plug in. Okay, that level of file system is what that ONTAP is popular for. And again, on top of that, they are also providing you a very good point in time backup with snapshot. They are also providing you data replication like your DFS in cloud, in your Windows. Here they provide Snap Mirror, which is very very powerful in terms of data replication. And there is one more concept called Flex Clone. This is a very good technology,
Ah,
and it is
yes.
used for data cloning actually. You can clone the data just in very few minutes. Okay, but definitely this dedupe compression and all those things makes up a good point, but flex clone is a very good thing. And similarly, it provides very good IOPS latency throughput. Definitely it is not anywhere lesser than your Windows file server or Lustre. It is much better than your Windows, but it can comparatively provide Lustre related speed. But Lustre is purpose built for Linux, right? It is purpose built for your POSIX compliant protocol, and it is mainly accessed from Linux EC2 instances and Linux containers. It is not broadly used. Okay, it is only used by the Linux-based applications or Linux-based system. But this one, you can use it by different things and different thing. And also, it supports petabyte scale storage capacity. Okay, and also it provides you intelligent tiering also. You can configure hot to cold, cold to archive. So all these things are there so that you can save a lot of cost. Okay, by you can enable intelligent tiering by if you enable it, automatically it will move the infrequently accessed data to the other tier, and you can save a lot of cost. And the biggest bet is integration with Active Directory. Okay, you can go and join this particular I mean, I have a lot of hundreds of slide on these things, but maybe just to help you understand how big is this concept or how big is this technology, you at least need minimum 16 hours to understand this FSX for NetApp on tap itself. That big is the concept. Maybe I can just take you through the slides. Just give me a second. I'll try to open up the slide. Okay. Okay, let me go to the FSX section. See, if I go to the FSX section, you'll get to understand. See, when you start with FSX for ONTAP, since Pandian is here, maybe we can also take some inputs from him. Okay, so this is how you start with ONTAP. Maybe I'll show you the complete demo on the Windows file server, because that is my strong area. Okay, but then this one I cannot get too much deep into the ONTAP, and I have not have a lot of hands on there, but I can explain it. But if in case needed, we can have a separate one day small workshop on how to set up this, how to manage it. But it is going to cost you. Okay, I'll tell you there is a reason behind it. So it starts minimum, you have to start with 1 TB capacity. Okay, that's where you will have to spend some money in order to practice NetApp ONTAP. So you have to start with 1024 GB. Okay, that is the minimum capacity you have to start with, and automatically if you're running it for 2 days or 3 days for practice, you have to pay around 4,000 6,000 rupees in order to complete the lab. So that's the reason I'm just trying to cover it up here. See, when you go and start the ONTAP concept, it will first create a storage virtual machine. It will create a server from where the endpoints can be provisioned. See, here in your Windows file server, it creates a Windows file server on the backend. Here it will create a Linux cluster on the backend. Here it will create a storage virtual machine, which is a native concept to NetApp. And the second thing it will create is the volume. So after you create the storage virtual machine, it will create volumes inside that, and these volumes will be provided to the endpoints, or as an endpoint to different systems, like whether it is your Linux or Windows or MacBook or on-premises or cloud. Even you can use this one also from on-premises as well as from the cloud. You can access it from on-premises as well as from the cloud side also. Okay, so you go and create a storage virtual machine, and within that you go and create a volume, and it can be accessed by these 4 different options. So the management is mainly to manage the volume and the file system, but the remaining 3 is mainly for accessing it from Linux, Windows, and iSCSI options. And you can create multiple SVMs in one particular FSX for NetApp, or you can create only one SVM also. So you can create either ways, and even within one particular SVM, storage virtual machine, you can create multiple volumes also. You can create thousands of volume. Okay, that is one more thing. So SVM, first SVM is created, and go ahead.
20 test streams can be created per node.
Sorry, what is that?
128 maximum it allows is 128.
No, it supports up to 500 volumes per file system.
Now volumes is 4096 volumes. SVM is storage virtual machine is for a node you can create up to 128 only.
Okay, Jagdish, are you talking to AWS? Are you talking about AWS FSX for NetApp ONTAP?
Yeah, for NetApp thing.
Oh, is it? Okay, so I did not know that it supports that huge, but I was thinking like it supports only up to 5. Okay, so how many you said?
4096 volumes it can support.
Oh,
And
is it?
Q3 also yeah. Like it,
Okay.
but we are not using that much. We cannot use it. Performance will be affected.
Oh, is it? Okay, let me check that. But I thought it is only 500 volumes per file system. Maybe, okay, maybe that
In other words,
we combine
Q3
together.
is wait. I'll just correct myself. Q3 is 4096.
Uh-huh.
Okay, volume I'll check and come back. Definitely.
That is correct. You are right. You are right. Q3s, I understand. Yeah, Q3s you can have up to 4096. That is true. I understand. Okay, now I get it. Like where you are talking about. Okay, so that is true. So volumes you can have up to 500. That is what I remember based on my previous documentation or study. But maybe I thought they have increased it recently. But I doubt actually, because like it cannot be enhanced just like that. The scalability is there, but it cannot go that big. But yeah, 4096 Q3s is acceptable. Okay, but here what I'm trying to say is like the technology itself is very complicated or very huge. Okay, you have to go and maybe let's go and look at the environment first. Okay, let me go and log into the screen, and let's go to ONTAP. See, when you go to ONTAP, FSX for ONTAP, you have to first create the storage virtual machine. That is the first thing you have to create. Okay, and you have to go and select a file system, and you can go and start creating a name. I can say this is my SVM01, And here you have to go and specify the username and password for that storage virtual machine. You can specify a password. You can also integrate it to a Active Directory system also, or Active Directory domain also. So you can have a specific username and password. In general, it will have a FSX admin as the username, and you can configure the password. I can just double check. So it generally gives FSX admin, I guess. Minute. See, this slides are for my professional level training, but I just want to quickly tell you how big is the technology. Okay, yeah, if it is called as FSX admin, it is a default username that will be created, and you can specify the password. Password can be customer given password. So after it is created, you can also join that storage virtual machine to a Active Directory domain also. The SVM can be joined to domain, and if you look at here, this is where the challenge is. Okay, if I go and create the file system, see, first thing I have to go and create the file system. I have to select this Amazon FSX for NetApp, and I have to select the capacity here. See, the problem is it has to be minimum 1024 and maximum it can support up to 192 terabyte. See, if I go and provision this, now itself billing will start 1 terabyte capacity, right? And if I'm running it for maybe like 3-4 days, I have to pay for that. So that's where the challenge is. But I can show you the standard create option. There are a lot of options you can play around. It supports only SSD. Okay, unlike your other concept, here you can go and say SSD or HDD. But here it's only SSD concept. There is no medium performance and all. NetApp is purpose built for fast capacity. Okay, it provides you SSD option where you can go and start with 1024 and you can go up to 192 terabyte. And this is what you have as a provision IOPS option. See, if you are planning to use the native or the default one, it can give you up to 3 IOPS per gigabyte or GB byte. But if in case you want to provision, you want to specify that yourself, you can also go and specify. See, if I go and specify, it will go up to 80,000 IOPS. That is the maximum you can specify. But I remember, see, let me tell you, this is something, there is a catch here. I thought it can support more. See, if I'm going and using 192 terabyte capacity for an example, I think it can go up to 160,000 IOPS. That is what I saw in Microsoft Azure. Okay, let me try. See, let's go and provision it. I'll go and say I want around 190,000 capacity GB. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, see, automatically it says at least you need 160,000 IOPS. I don't know like why they have mentioned this, but if you want to have this much amount of capacity, it should at least provide you 160,000 IOPS. In Windows, in Microsoft Azure, we call it as Ultra SSD concept. In Ultra SSD, it provides you up to 160,000, but I think Amazon is yet to update this note here. It can go up to 160,000. Okay, this is wrong information. Okay, it can go up to 160,000 IOPS. It is equivalent to your Ultra SSD in Microsoft Azure. Okay, so but still, like, yeah, I can just remove this even by mistake. Also, you cannot give that. Okay, let's go and the other thing is you can go and provision this file system in virtual private cloud or VPC. Okay, you can provision it in VPC, which gives you the option to go and use the security group, network access control list, or AWS network firewall to limit the traffic. You can have the control on your network. So who can access it, which port can be used, which subnet can connect, which systems can connect. So you have the endpoint option to restrict the users who can connect, which IP range can connect, all those things. So the next one is the option to configure the SVM, whether you want to have the local credential or you want to join it to the Active Directory domain. You can also go and join the NetApp file system to Active Directory. The integration with AD is the beautiful thing that they are providing you. You can actually have it in a workgroup or you can also have it in Active Directory. But if you are using from Linux, you will not join it to the domain. But if you are if you are going to access it from Windows or MacBook, you can join it to AD. That's a good thing actually. If you are going to use it from Windows and Mac OS client, because both of them will support SMB protocol. It's about the protocol, right? At the end, if you want to access it using SMB protocol, then you need to join it to domain and connect it from Windows and Mac. If you are planning to use NFS or iSCSI, you can continue to use Linux there. So now you have to go and create the volumes here. Okay, this is what we were discussing, right? How many volumes you can create per file system. So you can go and create up to 500 volumes per file system. Okay, so if I go and create a file system, I can go and provision up to 500 volumes. I can create one here and I can keep on adding it. So you can also manage, once after you create the file system, the biggest advantage with FSX, you can access it from many different technology in AWS. You can access it from your, what do you call? There is a slide, I thought. Okay, yeah, you can access it from EC2, you can access it from containers, you can access it from Kubernetes cluster, you can access it from your workspaces, which is your virtual desktop, you can access it from AppStream, you can also access it from VMware on AWS and on premises. It can support these many number of connections or these many number of products and services to connect to your FSX on tap. So this is the biggest selling point for NetApp on tap file system. You can use it for multiple different AWS products or multiple different AWS services. Okay, so now at least you should you might be starting to get why people are going for these kind of additional technologies. So when you want to access it from these many different technology, like your regular EC2 workload, containers and Kubernetes and virtual desktop, app services and VMware on premises, it gives you a very broadest ecosystem. It can connect, you can use the file system from many different technology, and also it gives you a lot of portability of data from one system to another system, because you are connecting from many different things. And here it gives you the biggest advantages of automatic backup. By default, it will be enabled with daily automated backup, and you can see that you can have 30 minutes daily automatic backup window, the start time, and you can also have a weekly maintenance window also. If you want to on the back end, if you want to do some patching or whatever, you can also, it also gives you the option to do a weekly patching also, or weekly maintenance window also. So Pandian, maybe after hearing all this thing, you might have got any other additional points. If you have some additional points, feel free to share it with the team, because like you work on this technology on a daily basis, right? So here I
Sure,
have
sure, sure.
tried to list as, yeah, go ahead.
Even it was very new to me for the FSX. That is what
Oh,
I'm
is it?
listening.
Okay, okay. Oh, is it? Okay, good, good. Then I'm happy about it. I thought I will be learning a lot of things from you today, but anyways. So here, yeah, FSX for NetApp on tap. It is very, very huge. Okay, the technology is very huge, that it provides support for many different AWS products, services, and all those things. Okay, supports integration with many AWS products on-prem and VMware cloud. Okay, so that's the beauty of it. So this is one thing, and it gives you much better option to go and configure maintenance window automatically, and the backup is automated as well. Okay, I can keep this listing and people will start thinking, okay, whether we should go for FSX or ONTAP. No, it is not like that. Okay, you have to discuss with the client. Okay, it's all at the end, client has to decide whether their requirement is that huge. Okay, and at the end, this will be the decision point, right? Whether how costly the solution is, how, whether customer has the budget, whether application owner has the budget, year on year, quarter on quarter, whether they have the budget to spend it. Like they will get the industry best technology, they will get the industry best system to work, but whether the application benefit or application return on investment is that huge. If your application is giving you a lot of return on investment, you can go and invest on these kind of technology. Okay, but I don't want to just kind of portray that this is the best one, but definitely out of these three, I would kind of very highly give weightage for FSX for NetApp on tap. But there is one more also available, right? One more technology called Amazon's native open ZFS, or Amazon's proprietary thing. This is I would say it is more cost effective, and in the sense like it is the cheapest because it is their own technology, right? If you think about this one, they have to have some tie-up with Microsoft, and they have to get some support from them. Similarly, this is again a technology from third party. They have to be working with NetApp hand in hand or shoulder to shoulder. They have to have some kind of relationship in order to provide you support. The cost can be comparatively high, and this is their own open source technology, right? This is like again, it is a very high performance technology. Don't underestimate it. Okay, this is a high performance technology, file storage technology. It is not a object storage, it is a file storage technology, but this is built on open ZFS file system. So that is the different thing. And also they are using on the back end, they will be using Amazon native AWS Graviton processors to provide you very good processing speed. And the only disadvantage, like the earlier one, it is only open with NFS protocol. Like your Lustre, it is also open only on the industry standard NFS. This one is SMB, this one is NFS, this is NFS, and this is the biggest difference, right? So yeah, and again, when I say NFS, the one additional point is it can support version 3, version 4, version 4.1, version 4.2. So all the three thing. Okay, let me mention it so that because someone was asking about the same thing during our EFS class, right? But this one supports the open VFS technology. I'm not sure if I will be able to list down these many points, but I'll at least have some option here. Okay, let me increase it. No, I don't want to. Okay, so here maybe additional things. They have native compression. They call it as Z compression. That is all there. Okay, I'm trying to relate the points here and trying to list down something. At least you can compare it. And here snapshot. Okay, it supports snapshot also. Okay, they call it as instant point in time snapshot, or I would say instant snapshot is supported. And here, okay, here also they support data cloning. Definitely that is there. Data cloning technology is there, but it is Amazon native technology, and you can access it from Windows, Linux, and MacBook. Okay, that is sure, but it has to support NFS, and you have to install the NFS client for NFS client in your Windows operating system. And when it comes to speed, throughput, I would say it can support, because it is Amazon native, right? So they will give much better speed. It supports up to 12.5 gigabytes throughput. And when it comes to speed, it can support up to millions of IOPS. Okay, 1 million IOPS or more than that in terms of IOPS speed. Okay, throughput is 12.5 compared to 3 in your Windows, and it will be much better, the open ZFS. And I think high availability, durability, it is all there. Okay, you can definitely configure it with high availability, durability. And again, what else can be okay, backup also, you can have a integrated fully automated backup. And what else, what are the other points I can bring from here? Okay, yeah, it supports quotas. Okay, that is one thing. So you can go and configure quota per user or per group. So the quotas are supported. You can configure user level, group level quotas. And there is one more very good point, that is like the compression, right? Here they call it as thin provisioning option. Like your what do you call in VMware, you go and configure it as a thick disk, thin disk, right? That thin provisioning option is here. So Amazon has leveraged that option, and they have given that in their open ZFS option. Okay, it can help you grow based on your, and also like same like your FSX, it can support multiple volumes per file system and so on. You can go and create multiple volumes per file system and so on. Okay, I don't want to kind of keep adding things here, but now you will get to you have a kind of little fair understanding on how to choose this technology, right? But when you discuss with customer, you have to understand their view, like what exactly they are looking at, what budget they have got. Okay, what is the security level they are asking, and how much availability they are looking for. So based on the customer's discussion, you can go and suggest. But on the other side, you should be more familiar with the technology, right? See, some customers might be more technical also. They might ask you for a little more questions. So that's where the next screen, the next sheet will help you. okay, to differentiate and explain them why you need to go for this. If they have a very good budget, if they have a very good application return on business or return on investment, then you can go and suggest them what are the beautiful things that this particular file system or this particular file system can bring to their business. Okay, so any questions? Let me take some water. It's like climate is very hot. I'm not able to continue. Any questions from anyone so far on this discussion? I know like it's kind of little, and at the end, see, if you are an administrator, you also need to think from your aspect, right? How easy it is to manage. See, setting up a NetApp ONTAP file system cluster, you should have some level of background. Okay, so the manageability is what again is important. It's not like you go and put up a system and you don't know to manage. So but again, if you get some training and if you are getting yourself used to it, then it is all good. Everything is a learning curve. But manageability also, you need to think about it, whether your operations team can support it, whether your run and maintenance team can go and support the ONTAP file system, or whether they can support the Lustre file system. That also need to be well thought. Otherwise it is going to be a problem at the later side. And also some organization, if you're talking with some of the European customers or some specific industry vertical customer, they will look into the SOC or ISO or the PCI DSS or the HIPAA and all those things, right? Definitely all these compliance is covered. It is designed to meet the highest security standard and compliance requirement. So compliant level, you don't have to worry about it. And also, if you ask me like about the encryption, definitely all the file system supports encryption both at rest as well as in transit. Okay, so it supports both. I mean, it's again at the end, it is the Vault KMS key management service is going to store the encryption keys, and you can integrate it. And what is the other biggest point you feel like going with Amazon native file system? Do you feel any other biggest advantage? See, when you're, I mean, I feel like I'm getting more into the sales kind of thing, but still you need to, you also as an administrator or a solution architect, one day you are also going to speak the sales term, right? See, when you go and tell them, when you choose something from Amazon, you are also getting a lot of other things also. See, for example, you don't have to worry about monitoring. You are going to integrate it with CloudWatch there, and also alerting and all those things. You are getting SNS, so you get that option as a service. And similarly, you can go and look at like who created it, what time was created, who accessed it. So all those information will be available in the cloud trail, which can be used for auditing. And also you can go and store it, store your keys in your KMS. You can also use some kind of clusters like Kubernetes clusters or SageMaker or workspaces. You can use it with different Amazon native technology. That integration makes a big difference. Okay, so you have to explain that also. See, it's not about just the FSX, right? You are also getting a lot of other services as a bundle from Amazon, not just the FSX alone. With FSX, you need a lot of monitoring, notification, alerting, reporting, integration, and use cases, right? So that is where it becomes a very biggest selling point. And on the other side, the technology, it works like this, right? You can provision something today and you can grow based on the business growth, unlike your on-premises. In on-premises, you have to at the very first day itself, you have to think about capacity planning. What is the capacity requirement for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year roadmap? All those things has to be discussed, right? Here in the cloud, we are not discussing it because you can grow based on the business growth. You can grow along, you get unlimited capacity, virtually unlimited capacity. So you don't have to worry about the capacity planning. In the on-premises, that is where the biggest problem is, right? You don't know what is the capacity growth. Like it is two things, right? We are talking about the storage capacity as well as the performance requirement. Some people will go and size it based on the current application owner's requirement, and maybe like after 1 or 2 months they will say like they are getting very less speed and all those things. You cannot go and change the SSD disk, or you cannot go and purchase NVMe disk just like that, right? So these are the things which is a kind of a very different thing in cloud, right? In on-premises, you have to discuss with the business, you have to discuss with the application owner, understand their capacity growth, understand their performance expectation, all those things. Then you make a decision on-premises. Here, you don't have to worry about capacity forecasting, performance forecasting. So if today it is not, if today you will provision only 10 GB or 20 GB, tomorrow automatically it's like pay as per use, right? So based on your consumption, you're going to pay for that usage or pay for that particular workload. If you are spinning up something today, you're not going to pay the entire capacity. But in on-premises, you go and invest it and you go and get the return year on year. Like the technology, it is very different, right? It is the just opposite of it, where you're talking about what do you call capex versus opex, right? Operational cost versus capital investment. So here in the cloud, it is like it can be inexpensive sometimes. Okay, it's not always cheap, but it might be cheaper compared to your on-premises. It might be inexpensive. It all depends on how you are provisioning it, how you are spinning up the machine, and it can help you have a good return on investment or good return on revenue. Okay, I think I've covered enough, a lot of theory. Okay, but still, I'll show you the practical for Windows file server, but I'll show you during the AD class, okay, along with Active Directory class next week. Next week, we'll be discussing IAM, Active Directory, and role-based access control. So along with that, I'll also show you this Windows file server for like FSX for Windows file server, because we need to set up the AD environment first, and then only you can use this Windows file server concept. So we'll see this lab. But if we are interested, Pandian, we can also have a separate 4 hours, 6 hours is needed to kind of set this up. And again, we need to spend some money there. Okay, in order to practice this, we need to at least spend around 4,000 to 6,000 rupees in order to completely understand this technology. But here, yeah, yeah. So that's the biggest thing. Okay, any questions from anyone? I know we have talked a lot about storage, and as I told you, it is an advanced discussion which might be needed for the pre-sales architect or the solution architect to decide. But still, you need to understand that Amazon is not just about a basic thing. It gives you a lot of marketplace options or technologies to play around. Yeah. Hey, any questions from anyone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stanley. So, whatever the file systems we discussed so far, either it is Windows or
Okay.
on top or Illustrator,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
those OS will be running on the AWS also, right? Before
Hmm.
we create any file system, right?
Yeah. So that's what
So,
the first point is, right? Here it is a fully managed. So Amazon will provision it, and they will take care of the server hardware, storage, the operating system, software configuration. Everything is fully managed by them. You don't have to worry about the server, the storage, the operating system. Everything is handled by them. That is what we call it as fully managed. Definitely, it is
okay,
needed, but it will be managed by Amazon instead of you.
but it could be backward compatibility or
No,
how
that is
they
something
are.
you don't have to worry about, right? See, if you are managing the OS, then you have to think about supporting the file system or all those things. But if you want backward compatibility, they are giving you, right, using a particular option. So if you are looking for version 3 in NFS, they definitely give you from your on-premises also, you can access it. See, that's the thing they give. So if you are looking for some legacy thing, they give you option. But if you ask me like Windows file server and all, it supports only latest SMB protocol, not the traditional one. You cannot use the old one from your
Mhm.
on-premises. Yeah.
So that needs to be considered, right? So before
Yeah,
putting
definitely. See,
any
that's where we have listed all these things, right? You need to definitely discuss what exactly is the use case. Whether customer is planning to access it using the older traditional legacy protocol, then you need to tell them no, it is not supported. You need to continue using the on-premises technology or what they have in hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Then.
Okay. So, any other question from anyone? Okay, interesting. Okay, so choice. When I say choice, how customer or the client chooses this. So how you guys are managing the heat? I mean, I think now itself it is kind of very hot, and then I'm not able to think about May. I think it is going to be very, very hot this year. My throat is getting problematic because of this too much of heat. I cannot speak for long.